All right, folks, let's dive right into the thick of it with this cover. We've got the Joker, grinning maniacally as always, guns blazing. He's practically leaping off a Joker playing card, and he's surrounded by plans scrawled on little pieces of paper. Then there's Batman, caught mid-action, a blur of grey against a yellow background. And right there in the center, smirking and holding her own pistol, is Harley Quinn, with her signature diamond pattern costume. There are fish flying around her, and a big pink heart and cards that say Mad Love. It's a chaotic, energetic mix that screams classic Batman adventures. Okay, we start with Commissioner Gordon at the doctor's office. A friendly nurse calls him in. He's holding a highlights magazine, looking a bit grumpy, the only way you would look in this situation. He mumbles as he walks down a long hallway. Then we see the doctor, a shadowy figure, already prepping. Gordon, sitting in the chair, admits he hates these checkups. The doctor, washing his hands, ominously replies, "Oh, come now, Commissioner. What in this miserable world is more beautiful?" The doctor finishes his sentence. Then a nice big, pretty smile, and bam, it's the Joker in a white coat with the name Doctor. Laugho on it, cackling like a madman, and holding a pair of dental pliers, Gordon yells out, shocked. The next 3 panels are pure chaos. A dart gun shoots Gordon, causing an explosion of confetti and smoke. And finally, the Commissioner is bound up with a big rainbow-colored spring, the noise being a big sproing. Talk about a crazy checkup. Harley, dressed as a nurse, scolds Commissioner Gordon with a playful naughty. Jump around like that and doctor won't give you a lollipop. Gordon, struggling, spits out a mouthful of the colorful spring that's been stuffed in his mouth. The Joker is inspecting Gordon, humming to himself, while Harley stands behind him with a concerned face. Tusk, this doesn't look good at all, she says. Finally, the Joker asks for a diagnosis, and looking down, the Joker looks concerned, which is a change of pace for this character, and states, "Well, I'm afraid," before he then reveals a terrifying drill contraption, saying everything is going to have to go with a huge grin. Things are definitely about to get wild. The Joker starts cackling as his drill starts to spin. Then with a huge crash, Batman bursts through the wall. The Joker, still wielding the drill, is clearly shocked by Batman's arrival, while Gordon lies helpless in the chair. In the final panel, Batman looms over a surprised Joker, quipping, "You're a little early for your appointment, you know." Classic Batman entrance. Batman calmly states that the teeth were an easy hint, and the Joker, looking smug, calls him sloppy and says he is losing his edge. Then Harley chimes in, "But the teeth were my idea," showing off her genius. And then she pulls out a gas tank and hose. With a real Eid, she aims a foosh of gas at Batman. It's a chaotic reversal of fortune for our heroes. Harley laughs, enjoying Batman's discomfort. But then Batman, coughing, reminds her, "I give the punchlines around here, got it?" as he throws her to the side. The Joker announces it's time for them to leave, addressing Batman as Batsy. They start to leave, with Gordon tied up and covered in gas. The Joker, in the final panel, tells Gordon to keep flossing and watch those between-meal snacks before they escape. Then, out of nowhere, a grenade plops onto Gordon's lap, followed by Batman diving out of the window to escape the blast. This is pure chaos, folks. Boom. The entire room explodes as the grenade goes off. We see Batman shielding Gordon from the blast. A burst of energy and debris flying everywhere. And then, after the dust settles, Batman is assisting Gordon, who understandably says, "I really hate these checkups." It's clear this was a close call, and Commissioner Gordon is less than thrilled about the whole experience. We get a cool shot of the Batmobile speeding along a winding road, a classic scene. Then we see Batman and Alfred. Alfred asks, "As you're back in one piece, I assume your campaign against the Joker was successful?" Batman replies that he stopped him from killing Gordon. He goes on to say, "I wasn't able to nail him though. He's become more slippery than ever," as he types on a computer. Alfred is serving Batman a cup of coffee, showing the contrast between the night's chaos and the calm of the Batcave. It seems that while Gordon is safe, the Joker has escaped again. We shift focus now. Alfred remarks that the Joker now has a playmate and refers to Harley as the ebullient Miss Quinn. Batman says in her own way, Harley is as crazy as the Joker and has a dangerous mind, stating, Harley Quinn was no angel. Then we see a young Harley, a teenager, winning a gymnastics scholarship with a big smile. But then the narrator says her real goal. It turns out that Harley graduated with a degree in psychology. We see her walking on campus, carrying a thesis paper with a grade of D.C. written on it. But the narration tells us, never mind that she didn't want to get it by studying. She goes on to get an A+ on her thesis, which seemed to have happened because she seduced the professor. Alfred then says, I seem to recall she was going to be one of those annoying pop psychologists while Batman is focused on his computer and states, her plans have changed since then. We then see Harley, masked and holding a large gun, hinting at a drastic turn in her career. Harley, in a red negligee, twirls and says, I feel pretty, oh so pretty, while posing in a warehouse. Below her, the Joker is intensely focused on his work, the sound being a big scribble scritch as he sketches on blueprints with a pen, not even noticing Harley. She clears her throat with an hum to get his attention, showing the dynamic between these characters. Harley stands in front of the Joker, trying to get his attention. She clears her throat again, but the Joker says, so way, I'm busy, while he continues sketching. She tries to rev herself up with a VR room sound. Then she jumps on the table and falls off with an ooh-off and a thud. The Joker, still unimpressed, finally mutters, oh sweetie. Harley uses a whoop-eye cushion, making a black noise. Then, with a big sigh, he continues to ignore her. The Joker abruptly tells Harley, listen, Cupcake, Daddy's got a lot of work to do and you're not helping. He explodes in anger, stating that she wasn't helping that day with that stupid chattering teeth gag. Harley tries to defend her plan, but the Joker insists that it was corny and old hat. Then he admits he let her collaborate, but she blew it and reluctantly says, Batman was right. He says it's time to cap off their feud with the ultimate humiliation of Batman, followed by his deliciously delirious death, showing how quickly his mood shifts. The Joker looks over his plans, stating there's got to be something here I can use, something really funny. Harley asks, why don't you just shoot him? Joker dismisses her, saying Batman's death needs to be nothing less than a masterpiece. He and Harley stand in silhouette against a red sky. Then, the Joker holds up a small, whirring gadget, calling it the triumph of my sheer comic genius over his ridiculous mask and gadgets. He activates the gadget, and it lets out a small puff and piek as it hits Harley. The gadget, a small dart, sticks to the Batman cutout, and we hear sizzle crackle pop as it shoots small sparks on the cutout, causing Harley to exclaim, phew. Then, the Joker sees a new plan in his schematics, exclaiming, I forgot all about this one. Ah yes, the death of 100 smiles. It seems he'll lure Batman to a location and then spring a trapdoor that drops Batman into a piranha tank. Then he says the last thing he'll see is all those beautiful, hungry smiles as they rip him to. He points to the floor and steps off. Then, a hidden trapdoor opens. They both fall through it with a fling as the scene cuts to black. The Joker realizes his mistake and says, oh wait, now I remember why I scrapped this plan, as he snaps the plans. He has a moment of realization, stating piranhas can't smile. He then adds that all those darling razor-sharp teeth turn down in a permanent frown. Then he explains, even my own Joker toxin couldn't get a giggle out of them. The Joker, exasperated, screams, alas, the bitter jest of fate, my greatest death trap shot to Squadu, all because I couldn't make the little guppies smile. He then sits on the stairs, looking defeated. Harley is behind bars, stating I know how to make some smiles, puddin', trying to reassure the Joker, placing her hand on his shoulder. The Joker walks up the stairs as Harley follows behind, both making an oh-ow-ow-ow sound. The Joker knocks Harley away, and she cries out boot, then falling with a slam. She states, don't call me puddin', before she gets up and sighs. Then we see Harley covered in mud and stains, stating another night I get all dolled up and another night I get the boot. Face it, Harl, this stinks. She's surrounded by laughing hyenas. She continues, You're a certified nutso wanted by the law in 24 states and hopelessly in love with a murderous, psychopathic clown. Harley thinks to herself, at what point did my life go Looney Tunes? How did it happen? We hear the hyenas with GRRLL he and CRR sounds. Harley answers her own question by yelling Batman. It's always been Batman. She's completely fed up at this point. She continues, he's always been there ruining my life, spoiling my fun, before she walks away into the dark with the hyenas in tow. We are back in time to my first day at Arkham. Harley narrates, gosh, I was so nervous and jazzed. In the next panel, we see a silhouetted image of the infamous Arkham Asylum, and then we see young Harleen Quinzel meet Joan Leland. They shake hands and she is told, hi, Joan, call me Harley. Everyone does. Then Joan says, I must admit I was surprised you wanted to intern here at Arkham. Anyone who had gone through med school with your high grades could have written her ticket anywhere. Harley replies, yes, well, I've always had this attraction for extreme personalities. They're more exciting, more challenging. Then Joan replies, and more high-profile. Harley then states, you can't deny there's an element of glamour to these supercriminals. Joan warns her, I'll warn you right now. These are hardcore psychotics. They just as soon kill you as look at you. We see inmates acting out in the background. Joan says, if you're thinking about cashing in on them by writing a tell-all book. Harley's face is hopeful, and then Joan says, think again with a serious look. As they walk by a cell, Harley thinks to herself, the Joker is standing there looking smug with a musical note floating over his head. Joan says they'd eat a novice like you for breakfast, and understand, Harley. Harley, clearly fascinated by the Joker, initially looks shocked and says, oh, absolutely. But then she looks sly and happy. She is definitely intrigued. Harley says later that day, I found a little surprise waiting in my office. We see Harley's silhouette entering her office, then a close-up of a single red rose in a vase with a note attached saying, come down and see me sometime, Jay. Then we see a close-up of Harley with the bars from a window over her face and a rose that looks like it's made out of a heart. Finally, we see the Joker lying on a bed with a wide grin. Harley says, care to tell me how this got in my office? The Joker replies, I put it there, and then Harley says, I think Dr. Leland and the guards would be interested to know you've been out of your cell. The Joker responds to that, if you were really going to tell them, you already would have. He then says, you know, sweets, I like what I've heard about you. Harley, clearly intrigued, asks, oh really? Anything in particular? The Joker replies, mostly the name, Harley Quinzel. The Joker then says rework it a bit, and you get Harley Quinn, like the classic clown character, Harlequin, the very spirit of fun and frivolity. Harley, now seeing the plan, smiles and replies, you can see how I'd be attracted to it. The Joker replies, I guess, now if there's nothing else, a name that puts a smile on my face. Harley thinks, it makes me feel there's someone here I can relate to, someone who might like to hear my secrets. She then narrates, it took nearly 3 months of pleading before Dr. Leland finally gave in and let me do a session with the Joker. Then I went in, ready for anything. She is told that she was an animal, plain and simple, a fiend who enjoyed twisting the minds of those stupid enough to trust him. I was determined not to be taken unaware and studied up on all his jokes, tricks and gimmicks. We see a panel of the Joker lying down on the couch for their session, and then a close-up as he states, you know, my father used to beat me up pretty bad, before the panel ends with him thinking anything except that. The Joker narrates, every time I got out of line, bam, and or sometimes I'd just be sitting there doing nothing, pow, as Harley sits with her notepad, unimpressed. She says ooh-ha to the next statement, which is, Pops tended to favor the grape, you see. The Joker then recalls a happy memory. There was only one time I ever saw Dad really happy. He took me to the circus when I was 7. The Joker continues, I still remember this one clown, crazy-looking geek with checkered pants running around the ring with this tiny dog snapping at his heels every time he starts to laugh. He goes on to describe this scene. Every time the geek stopped to kick the pup. Zwoop, he dropped his pants and fell on his butt. He finishes, clearly laughing at the memory. The Joker laughs, saying, ha 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 ha, geez, I thought my old man would bust a gut laughing. Harley smiles, thinking I saw how happy he was, and I decided I'd make him laugh too. Then the Joker describes how he thought he would make his dad laugh, so the next night, when Dad staggered home from the bar. He then says, "There I stood in the doorway wearing his best Sunday slacks around my ankles. 'Hi, Dad.' I squeaked, 'Look at me.' Swoop. I took a big pratfall and tore the crotch clean out of his pants." Harley starts laughing and says, "Ha ha ha ha." Then the Joker continues, "And then he broke my nose," as Harley abruptly stops laughing and is now crying. The Joker says I still like to think he was aiming for my fanny and missed. At least, that's what I told myself. When I woke up in the hospital 3 days later. Harley exclaims, "3 days." The Joker replies, "But hey, that's the downside of comedy." Then in a close-up of the Joker's face, with a dark background, he says, "Or Batman," with a terrifying smile. Then he says, "You're always taking shots from folks who just don't get the joke," and then, like my dad. Finally, the Joker is being led away by 2 guards and says, "Thanks, Doc, I feel a lot better, same time next week." Harley replies, "Sure." We then see her notes from the session. Subject admits to abusive childhood, alcoholic father/son circus trip, potential bonding experience. Subject beaten when prank went wrong. 3 days in hospital, with a note at the bottom, Batman. In the weeks ahead, it soon became clear to me that the Joker, so often described as a raving, homicidal madman, was nothing more than a tortured soul crying out for love and acceptance. We then see images of Batman fighting the Joker. The narration continues, a lost, injured child looking to make the world laugh at his antics. And there, as always, was the self-righteous Batman, determined to make life miserable for my angel. Finally, we see Harley drawing hearts and flowers around her initials and the Joker's, along with Batman with a small scribble through his head, and stating, "Yes, I admit it, as unprofessional as it sounds, I had fallen in love with my patient." Harley thinks to herself, "Pretty crazy." Hush, she immediately responds, "Not at all." Then she states, as a dedicated, career-oriented young woman, "You felt the need to abstain from all amusement and fun. It's only natural you'd be attracted to a man who could make you laugh again." She states, "I knew you'd understand," and the Joker replies, "Any time," while he is writing on his notepad. Then, the narration continues, "Then, there was that horrible week when he escaped." We then see Harley lying on a couch in her office. Then we see a newspaper stating Joker still at large, body count rises. Harley then states, "The poor thing was out on the run, alone and frightened. I was so worried." Then we see a bunch of doctors and nurses running through a hallway in a panic, while Harley looks worried. Batman is dragging the Joker back to his cell. The Joker's clothes are torn and he has cuts on his face and a bloody lip. Batman has a wound on his arm. They're being watched by a group of shocked onlookers, including Harley, who looks heartbroken. We see Harley tending to the Joker's wounds while she is teary-eyed as another doctor looks on. Then there is a close-up of her crying. We see Batman standing behind the Joker, who is trying to reach for Harley, as one of the doctors tries to stop him. Batman looks down at them. His face is covered in cuts, implying there was a fight. Then we see Harley kneeling, looking away in distress, while 2 other doctors try to comfort her. Then we see Harley lying in bed with her hands reaching up in despair. We see her walking away in silhouette as she starts her descent to madness, and then we see her car driving away from Arkham Asylum. We see a montage of Harley's transformation. First, we see her going into a store called Costumes, Tricks, Novelties. She's holding a big bang gun box and a clown white container, looking determined. Then, we see a man fall through the front window as Harley is exiting the same store. Then, a nighttime view of the car driving away from Arkham Asylum. Then we see a policeman at GCPD, with a sign, "Attention, no entrance without authorization," a silhouette of Harley and a chicken in the frame. Then, a policeman has been knocked out by a whoopee cushion. Then, a man is falling over in a cloud of stink bomb gas. Then, a man is laying in bed. Then, a close-up of his hand with a clock counting down on it. This collage shows Harley's descent into madness. A huge explosion goes off with a boom. In front of the exploding window, we see a fully transformed Harley Quinn with her red and black diamond pattern costume. A big smile on her face, holding a gun, she is looking at the camera and says, "Knock, knock, Puddin, say hello to your new, improved Harley Quinn." The Joker, bandaged and in a hospital gown, looks on. The Joker, bandaged up, snickers as he looks out the window when a nearby police officer yells halt. Another officer yells snicker as Harley runs by. Then there is a boom, with a bang, and a snort. The Joker looks surprised while Harley stands behind the blast. A man gets hit by a big spring with a boing as Harley giggles. A policeman slips on marbles with a chuckle. The Joker is hit in the face by Harley with a big crack noise. We see a car crash with a crunch and screey noise while the Joker laughs with Harley in the car. Then, Harley and the Joker are seen driving away into the sunset, as Harley thinks back then it was all such innocent fun. Though I can't deny I did have hopes for the future. Harley, dressed in a housewife dress, says play nice kids as she's baking cookies. Two child versions of Harley and the Joker are playing on the floor. Little Harley yells, "Wah, Daddy, JJ's poisoning me," as a little Joker replies, "Well, you just poison him right back." Harley then sighs as she sits on the floor with her hyenas, and we hear a scritch-scratch sound. She is thinking of a perfect family life, but in the background, she sees images of herself and the Joker with their crimes. We see a sad little face of Harley behind her mask as we hear poof, and she states, "But that dream will never come true as long as there's a Batman around to torment my Puddin." Harley thinks to herself, The Joker is asleep at a desk with a ZZZZZZ sound above his head while he mumbles ZZZZ, Snurf, GDMN Batm, RR, heh. Harley, who is watching him, says Aw. Then we see the Joker fast asleep at the desk as Harley looks over his schematics with ZZZZ and ZN sounds. She is now wearing a red negligee. Then we see Harley, smiling, holding the blueprints, and an image of her smiling with an explosion effect. Then we see a plan with a yes over it. Then a skyline view of Gotham with a large bat symbol over the moon. Then Commissioner Gordon is holding a present with the text saying this was delivered an hour ago, addressed to you. Batman receives a present from H which has a small video player in it. Batman activates it. Then we see an image of Harley on the screen and Commissioner Gordon and another policeman behind him watching along with a serious face. Harley says, "If this message reaches Batman, I hope it's not too late for you to help me." Then she states, "I know how unbelievable that sounds, but it's no joke. Mr. J. Quote's gone off his nut for real. After you stopped him from killing Gordon, he swore he'd get even, not just with you, but with the whole city." Then she finishes with he's going to wipe out everybody. "I've seen the plans, the gas bombs, everything Gordon says at rush hour tomorrow morning. Gotham becomes one big, grinning ghost town." Harley says in the video, "I finally realize this isn't funny anymore. All the people he's hurt, all the people he'll kill." Then she states, "I can help you get him if you promise me protection." Batman reads the message on the video, "Come alone to Pier 16 at the port of Gotham tonight at midnight." Batman then states, "I'll hand over everything I've got, but only to you. You're the only one who can stop him," as we see a silhouette of Batman overlooking the docks at night. Batman, communicating via a small device, says Jim, "Go ahead, Batman. I've been here since 10:30, enough time to check for hidden traps, henchmen, or any other nasty surprises." A silhouetted figure of Batman on a roof says so far nothing. Harley says she's here on time, alone and scared. "I'll be in touch." Batman says, "You have information for me?" Harley replies, "Sure, right here, like I said." Batman says, "Open it." Harley opens the briefcase showing a bunch of cash. Then she says, "You're thinking booby traps, right? Well, I don't blame you considering. Okay." Then Batman takes a set of blueprints from the briefcase. Finally, Batman says, "I want Gordon to see these. If what you say is true, the police will have to." "Traitor," Batman yells Nuu, as he sees a figure on a boat say, "No one turns stoolie on me and lives," as he starts to fire. "Ha ha ha ha" is yelled from the shooter. The shooter starts shooting at Batman and Harley. We hear bracca bracca sounds. Batman yells down and throws them both down as more bullets come flying at them. We hear Bracca Vip Tizo sounds. Batman yells ooh ha 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 as he grabs Harley, just as the shooter gets blown out of the boat with a splack sound. Then we see a close-up of a helmet with ZZit sound effect and see that it is the Joker, and his plans of murder are about to begin. Batman says, and then cries out Eric as he is being injected with something. He yells as Harley says, "Sweet dreams, sucker." We see Harley walking off the pier. Then a view of the city at night. The Joker, whose face is in silhouette, says, "Let's see." His arms are double-chained, ditto the legs, and then says, Batman in the final panel states, "Where?" "I took off the belt and triplet-checked all the knots." Batman says Quinn, as he is hanging upside down over a fish tank. Harley, who is drinking a grape soda, says, "Oh, you're awake finally, gee, that knockout drug really kept you under. Plus, you've been hanging upside down for a while. All that blood rushing to your head's gone and made you a little loggy. Yeah, I don't think you'll be getting out of this one anytime soon." She then states, the Joker, "Where?" Then she states, "It's just me, B-Man. No Joker, no gas bombs, no city in peril. Just you, that tank, and me." Then, in a final panel, Harley is standing above Batman stating, "I want you to know, I went to a lot of trouble to pull this off. Not only did I have to drag your carcass up here by myself," Harley continues, "but I had to loot every fish collector and aquarium in Gotham to get enough piranhas for this stunt. And I hate fish, Ike." Then, "Why bother?" she then replies, "But Mr. J gave up on it cause he couldn't get the piranhas to smile." Then Harley says, "That way to you, it'll look like they're smiling." She asks, "Pretty clever, huh?" Batman replies, "Brilliant." Then Harley says, Yeah, I can tell you're less than thrilled. But for what it's worth, this really ain't a personal grudge." Then she smiles saying, "You see, I actually enjoyed some of our romps. But the time comes when a gal wants more from life. And now all this gal wants is to settle down with her loving sweetheart." Batman says, "You and the Joker." Harley replies, "Right-a-rooney." Batman laughs and then Harley replies, "I've never seen you laugh before. I don't think I like it. Cut it out, you're giving me the creeps. You're a fool." Batman replies, "The Joker doesn't love anything except maybe himself." Face reality, Harley and Joker had you pegged for hired help the minute you walked into Arkham. Harley replies, "That's not. No. HHE told me things, secret things he never told anyone." Batman states he's gained a lot of sympathy with that one. Harley starts yelling, "Stop it. You're making me confused. What was it he told that one parole officer?" Batman, in the final panel, replies, "Oh, yes." Before Harley says, "There was only one time I ever saw Dad really happy. He took me to the ice show when I was 7. She starts crying. Harley says, "Circus." He said it was the circus, and then continues saying he's got 1 million of them, Harley. Like any other comedian, he uses whatever material will work. Harley cries out, "You're wrong. My puddin' does love me, he does. You're the problem." Then she says, "Always in the way, always coming between us. We'd be happy if it weren't for you," as she starts to lower Batman into the fish tank. Then she cries out, "Now you're gonna die and make everything right." Batman says, "Except he'll never believe you did it." Then, with tears in her eyes, she says, Sure, he will." Then she is facing the fish tank and says, "How's the Joker going to know I'm really gone? The only thing those fish will leave behind are scraps of bone and cloth, and anyone can fake that." Harley says, "True, you've got my belt, but that's not the same as a body," then states, "He'll never buy it, and you won't be able to prove it." We see her hand picking up a phone. Then, the Joker is in his hideout reading. He thinks boring. Lame, not funny. Been done then too, Riddler. Nope, as the phone starts ringing. The phone keeps ringing with a ring sound effect. Then the Joker answers the phone, yelling, "What?" before he starts talking calmly, Harley. "Where the heck have you?" "Ooh-ha, yeah. Then the Joker puts down the phone, then says, Batman, eh? Well, you don't say." The Joker yells, "You have who? Tied up where?" Then, in a thought bubble, we see the Joker, the Penguin, and Two-Face thinking, "There goes the Joker, the guy whose girlfriend killed Batman. Oh yeah, that's his name. You know, Mr. Harley Quinn. I never thought he was that funny to begin with." Then we see a car speeding away with a VRO sound, while the Joker thinks GRO. Finally, in the GCPD, Gordon says Chopper Cop just spotted the Joker heading north on Sprang Terrace. Let's move, Batman says. Well, nerds to you, Mr. Smarty Bat. Then Harley says, when I told Mr. J what I was doing, he was so thrilled he could hardly speak. He's on his way here right now to watch you feed the fish. Then Harley looks happy. We see a collection of the Joker's henchmen with the text, "Do you take this, laddie?" as they are having a ceremony. A big boom goes off, and the Joker is holding a bunch of cigars, saying cool. Then we see a close-up of Harley smiling as the Joker says, "So you want to fool around?" And then a silhouette of them falling with a slam noise. Then in a thought bubble we see Harley with tears in her eyes saying, "Oh you," she sighs, and then says sigh. The Joker yells HARLEY while running through a door. We see Harley with a surprised look on her face, looking back at the Joker. Harley with a smile says, "Hi, Puddin'," then continues, "You're just in time to see them." Then she is hit in the head with a smash sound as the Joker yells, "Goo." The Joker says, "Excuse me, I'll just be a minute." Then he is looking down at her while saying, "But Puddin', I don't understand. Don't you want to finally get rid of Batman?" Harley with a scared look says, "Only if I do it, idiot." The Joker grabs the blueprints and yells, "Batman is mine. You had no right to interfere with my fun." Harley says, "But it's still your plan, see? Everything just like you said." Then the Joker replies, "Except I hung the guy upside down, so he'd see their little frowns as little smiles. Now it all works." The Joker is screaming with rage, saying, "Except you had to explain it to me. If you have to explain a joke, there is no joke." Then he grabs something and beer. Then he says, "My jokes are elegant in their simplicity. You see them, you get them, you laugh and of joke." He is chasing Harley. She says, "You should have remembered what I told you a long time ago. It's one of the few real truths of comedy. And now calm down, Puddin'." Then he snatches something that she is holding. It appears to be a fish. Harley, yelling, "You always take shots from folks who just don't get the joke," then gets hit with a coof and then is kicked away with a swap sound. We see a vertical panel of Harley falling through glass. Then we see a vertical panel of the Joker walking away and dropping a fish with a plop sound. He states, "And don't call me Puddin'." Then we see a panel of a police car, one of the cops yelling, "Last report said Joker was headed this way," before Gordon yells, "Commissioner in the alley." Then a vertical panel with the police running and one of them yells, "Harvey, call an ambulance." Then the police officer behind them says, "Oh geez." Batman says, "Don't move. Help is coming. My fault, I didn't get the joke." Then we see Gordon running up the stairs with a gun. Then Batman, hanging upside down over the fish tank, says, "I really have to apologize for the kid." The Joker walks towards Batman, saying, "No style, no respect for propriety. I tell you what, let's just pretend the whole thing never happened and do this some other time, okay?" Then he hits Batman twice on the head with pat-pat sound effects, and then says, "Great, see ya," with a big smile. Then he's walking away and we see musical notes above his head before saying then again, looking sad. The Joker, while holding his gun, says, "This is a rather rare opportunity. What's the old saying? A bat in the hand is worth two in the belfry." Then he says, "Hey bats, looks like you're going out on a laugh after all." Batman's eyes widen as he points his gun at the Joker and says, "Ha ha." Then the Joker gets shot with a blam sound effect, and the gun falls out of his hand with a click sound. Then the Joker falls into the tank with a big splash sound effect, and he yells, "Org." The Joker is screaming as he falls into the fish tank with a "oa, eek, ag" sound. Then Batman is seen chained and hanging over the fish tank, looking down at the piranhas. Then we see Batman in silhouette as he says, "Oh, real funny, Batman, real yow, friggin' funny." Gordon and another police officer are running upstairs before Batman is seen using a lark pick with a K-tink sound. Then Gordon yells, "There he is," as he sees the Joker escaping through the exit. The Joker's eyes are wide with anger, and he is holding a fish while saying, "Look out, he's going for his." Then he is holding the fish again, with a big gash over his nose and a bloody lip as he says, "Fish." Gordon yells "Bar," and Batman asks, "Where?" Before the other police officer yells the roof. Then Batman is seen running up some stairs. Then we see a silhouette of the Joker running across a roof, then Batman running the same path while yelling Joker. The Joker jumps from a building with his silhouette above the sign Stora. Then he grabs a metal pipe with a K-Kriunk and yeah, sound effect. Batman is chasing him, yelling ah as they both jump from building to building. Then the Joker, with a crazed expression and tongue out, yells made you look. We see the Joker leaping through the air while laughing. Then we see a train going up an overpass with a ha-ha sound effect before a silhouette of the Joker on a rooftop while yelling Nyani. The Joker makes a slurping noise with PBLPFTT. As he licks his lip, he says ha 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 ha. Then with a serious face says, "She almost had me, you know." Batman thinks, arms and legs chained, my belt gone, dizzy from the blood rushing to my head. Batman says, "I had no way out other than convincing her to call you." Then the Joker and Batman are both standing on a roof. Batman thinks, "I knew your massive ego would never allow anyone else the honor of killing me." The Joker is walking in front of Batman and says, "Though I have to admit, she came a lot closer than you ever did." Batman says, "Pardon," with a small smile as the Joker looks shocked with a face covered in blood. The Joker, full of rage, then runs at Batman and screams "Arrgh." The Joker attacks Batman with a HRRR sound. Then, Batman headbutts the Joker with a zop sound before Batman punches the Joker in the face with a B-whacked sound. Then the Joker kicks Batman with a P-walk sound. Batman slams the Joker with his fist and a thud noise. Then we see the Joker punching Batman with a bash sound. The Joker then pulls out a knife with a snig sound effect and smiles and laughs with ha-has. Then we see Batman's arm as he pulls the knife out of the Joker's hand, also with a ha-ha sound effect. The Joker is fighting with Batman. They are both in midair as they punch each other. A large bam sound effect is visible. Batman is also holding the knife, showing that he took it back from the Joker. Batman yells, "Oh no," as he sees the Joker fall into a large pipe with a knot and NNNN sound effect. We see a wide shot of the city at night, with Batman overlooking the city. Then, we see a TV broadcast with a news anchor stating, though a body has not yet been found, it seems extremely unlikely that Gotham's clown Prince of Crime has survived his latest brush with Batman and the police. Then, a second news anchor says, still, he has been notorious for resurfacing when least expected, never again. Then, we see Harley being pushed in a wheelchair with bandages around her head and are thinking no more obsession, no more craziness, no more Joker. Then, she thinks I finally see that slime for what he really is, as a shadowy figure of a doctor is pressing a button on the elevator. Harley, in a hospital bed, thinks I'll serve my time peacefully, heal myself and get out of here. Then states I will, with an eye closed. Then, in the third panel, Harley is looking at something with a bandage over her eye. Joan Leland says, "Well, Harley, I hope you've learned your lesson." The Joker's handwriting is shown as a note on a vase, saying, "How did it feel to be so dependent on a man that you'd give up everything for him, gaining nothing in return?" Then, Harley is laying in bed and says, "It felt like." Then she is looking at the letter with a single red rose next to it which states "Feel better soon, Jay." Finally, she thinks, "It felt like a kiss," and smiles with crazed eyes. Finney's thanks for tuning in. Stay curious, stay awesome, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more amazing content.